I wanted to start this video with stereotypes about Slovenia and the Balkan in general, to finally clear them up. But it turned out to be not as easy as I had thought, because for many people Slovenia is not of great pertinence. A few years ago I didn't know a single fact about Slovenia, the Balkan or former Yugoslavia. So I started writing an analysis about the conflicts in Yugoslavia, but at an early stage I started to realize that I needed better insight into the structures, because reading studies and watching interviews did not allow the conception of a causal relation. The travel program of the German Schwarzkopf Stiftung and Interrail allowed me to travel to the Balkan, and I was the happiest person when I was told that I had won the Interrail ticket, which allowed me to start my journey in my hometown Berlin in September 2019. I was able to travel for 15 days and I had planned to visit Slovenia and Croatia. That was everything I had in mind so far. I wouldn't have thought that my pass was about to take me to 5 countries in just 15 days. Slovenia was the first stop on my list. Everything else was kind of spontaneous. I went on a little adventure with people I had met in the hostel. First around the lake, then we visited the castle, and then we went on a hike through the mountains. So the goal of my trip was to get to know differences between the former Yugoslavian countries. This is why I spontaneously decided to visit some other countries as well. The former republics of Yugoslavia are all kind of diverse, and Slovenia has always been considered as different. From Lake Bled I traveled to Ljubljana, which is a small city. The city center doesn't allow cars, and instead they have free tiny taxis, which can be used by anybody. The architecture is mainly influenced by Josip Plečnik. Slovenia loves its poets and writers as well. The architecture of the city center is split in half. You can see the influence of Baroque and Renaissance combined. Slovenia is also known for its beekeeping and honey products. All in all, it's a great little country and its people are diverse and the attractions are worth a visit. My personal highlight was the bookshop in Ljubljana. I got into a conversation with an old lady who fled to Canada in the 1960s. She said that communism took everything she had. The other woman sympathized with Tito, although she did not grow up when he was ruling Yugoslavia. The old lady somehow agreed. Tito was a persona. He was able to keep the diverse people by his side. From the capital city of Slovenia, I traveled to Zagreb, Croatia. I did not see much of Croatia, but I must say that tourists love the beaches and enjoy the summertime there. The markets in Zagreb with fresh fruit and vegetables are great. Zagreb is definitely more hectic than Ljubljana. In Zagreb, I met Zach from Algeria and we talked a lot about religion. And religion turned to be out one of the most important topics of my travels together. You might ask, why is that? Well, religion is quite present in the Balkan area and you will find loads of people who practice different religions in one area, so that was quite interesting to me. I took the first night train from Zagreb to Belgrade, which is in Serbia. I met some other travelers which I spent time with. I stayed in a private apartment because I had contacted a guy via couchsurfing. He was able to show me around the city and give suggestions. He told me that the average salary is the equivalent of 400 euros, which is really low. And this is why loads of people move to find a better job. It was quite hard for me to get around in Belgrade because I don't speak the Serbian language, nor do I speak Russian, which is spoken by many people. All in all, Belgrade surprised me because coming from Berlin, I thought it would be less crowded, but it turned out to be even more vibrant. A local introduced me to the culture and common drinks and food. I could definitely see a difference between Slovenia, Croatia and Serbia. This is what I had hoped for, because all I heard before was that the Balkan is not really considered diverse, when in fact it is. I then took the famous route from Belgrade down to Montenegro, and most of the people get off in Bar. I'm definitely going to use the train for all my travels in the near future, because you can actually call it a journey when you get in touch with that many people and you can actually engage and see where you're going. My first stop in the country was Mojkovac, which is known for its mint where coins used to be produced, and there's an arms factory. Only 3,000 people, about 3,000 people live in Mojkovac, and it is surrounded by one of the 3 remaining virgin forests in Europe. I stayed with a local family from Mojkovac, and they showed me how they make their own juice and introduced me to the history of Mojkovac. Igor and his family really surprised me with their hospitality. They let me try local products and drove me anywhere I wanted to go, and I'm really grateful that I could stay with them. I continued by train down to the coast of Montenegro. The coast is very crowded, so after a few hours I decided to escape and spontaneously decided to visit Bosnia and Herzegovina. The country has been cut off from the rail transport for some time now, so I had to take the bus. I saw Mostar, which is definitely one of my favorite places. Mostar is one of my favorite places because of its diversity. Religions coexist. You will find the oldest mosque, an Orthodox church and a synagogue side by side. People are kind, and it seems like they are treating each other with a lot of respect, and it feels so good to walk around the city. It felt like the time in Mostar was standing still. I think that was because of the heat. I watched a painter creating one of his favorite and famous paintings, the old bridge in Mostar, and I shared some fresh figs with him and bought a postcard off of him. So then I took the train from Mostar to Sarajevo, and Sarajevo is vibrant. There is the main busy shopping street and people are hanging out in cafes and they eat together. I went on a free walking tour in Sarajevo, and the guide grew up in Sarajevo during the war. He remembered the danger and the tension he felt each day, and he shared many memories with us and talked about the discontent the people feel today, because the economic and political situation brings frustration to the people and they wish for a change. Nevertheless, people are enjoying the time with the family and friends, and people are warm-hearted and caring. Traces of the war and brutality remain because the houses are destroyed and there is no money to rebuild them. The guide was happy to share his stories with us, and I'm really grateful that I was able to participate in the tour. So from Sarajevo, I made my way back home to Berlin and took a quick stop in Maribor, which is in Slovenia. It's known for its wine production and many people speak German. So all in all, I will not be able to summarize my trip in only a few minutes. What I want to say is that former Yugoslavia and the whole Balkan region is worth a visit, and I definitely haven't seen enough. Especially if you use the train and the Interrail ticket. People appreciate kindness and interest in the current happenings. I met people who had to flee the country. I met people who wanted to leave the country but didn't have to. I also met people who stayed. And I met people who are not sure if they're gonna come back or will stay away forever. I want to thank the Schwarzkopf Stiftung, Deutsche Bahn and Interrail for making this trip possible. It allowed me to get an idea of life in the Balkan region and see the differences in the diversity. Before my travels, I had an idea of how it could be, and now I know that there's so much more to it, and I definitely need to visit many more times in order to understand the big picture. And I want to recommend it to you as your next destination. I recommend to get in touch with people from the different regions. Don't be shy, ask questions, and aim to learn more about what connects you with the people and places, because there definitely is something.